Yes.
Not so bad. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to bring Tulasi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanandi, Jayam Vishupada Paramahamsa, Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satya, Sri Simar, His Divine Grace, Chelabai Charan Narvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Sri Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Skandiliti, Founder Acharyas, Divine Grace, Sri Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya, Sri Haridas Thakur Ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Jainitai Gaura Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Astapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Saiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayashavadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Utamashloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pangum langayate girim yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. Continuing to read from the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 2, entitled The Lord in the Heart. And today we're jumping to text 30. We will read 29, which we have not yet covered, since it has short purport. We are doing 30. Sa bhuta sukshmendriya sanikarsham manomayam devamayam vikaryam samsadya gatya saha tena yati vijnana tattvam guna sanirodham sabhuta sukshmendriya sanikarsham manomayam devamayam vikaryam samsadya gatya saha tena yati vijnana tattvam guna sanirodham sabhuta sukshmendriya sanikarsham manomayam devamayam vikaryam samsaja gatva sahatena yati vijnana tattvam guna sandirodham sabhuta sukshmendriya sanikarsham Manomayam Devamayam Vikaryam Samsadya Gatya Sahatena Yati Vijnana Tattvam Gunasa Nirodham Sabhuta Sukshmendriya Sanikaryam Manomayam Devamayam Vikaryam Samsa Jagatya Sahatena Yati Vijnana Tattvam Gunasa Nirodham Saha, he the devotee, Bhuta, the gross, Sukshma, and the subtle, Indriya, the senses, Sanikarsam, the point of neutralization. Manamayam, the mental plane. Devamayam, in the mode of goodness. Vikaryam, egoism. Samsadya, surpassing. Gatya, by the progress. Saha, along with. Tena, them. Yati, goes. Vijnana, perfect knowledge. Tattvam, truth. Guna, the material modes. Vinirodham, sannirodham, completely suspended. Yes. So before reading 30, we'll just read text 29. Granena gandham rasena vairasam rupam chadvistya swasanam tvachaiva srotrena chopetya nabho gunatvam pranena chakutim upaiti yogi. Translation to text 29. The devotee thus surpasses the subtle objects of different senses, like aroma by smelling, the palate by tasting, vision by seeing forms, touching by contacting the vibrations of the ear, by ethereal identification, and the sense organs by material activities. Purport. Beyond the sky there are subtle coverings resembling the elementary coverings of the universes. The gross coverings are a development of partial ingredients of the subtle causes. So the yogi or devotee, along with liquidation of the gross elements, relinquishes the subtle causes like aroma by smelling. The pure devotional, the pure spiritual spark, the living entity, thus becomes completely cleansed of all material contamination to become eligible for entrance unto the kingdom of God. And purport to text 30. Well, first we'll read the translation and the purport. The devotee, thus surpassing the gross and subtle forms of coverings, enters a plane of egoism, and in that status he merges the material modes of nature, ignorance and passion, in this point of neutralization, and thus reaches egoism and goodness. After this, all egoism is merged into the Mahatattva, and he comes to the point of pure self-realization. Can you repeat after me? The devotee, thus surpassing the gross and the subtle forms of coverings, enters the plane of egoism, and in that status he merges the material modes of nature, namely ignorance and passion, in this point of neutralization, and thus reaches egoism in goodness. After this, all egoism is merged in the Mahatattva, and he comes to the point of pure self-realization. Yeah, purport. Pure self-realization, as we have several times discussed, is the pure consciousness of admitting oneself to be the eternal servitor of the Lord. That is also referred to as spiritual swadharma. Spiritual swadharma, Prabhupada explains, is in reference to fully realizing and understanding the statement that we find in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas, that is spiritual sadharma. Thus one is situated in his original position of transcendental loving service to the Lord, as will be clearly explained in the following verse. This stage of rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord without any hopes of emolument from the Lord or any other way, can be attained when the material senses are purified and the original pure state of the senses is revived. It is suggested herein that the process of purifying the senses is the yogic way, namely, the gross senses are merged in the mode of goodness. Namely, the gross senses are merged in the mode of ignorance, and the subtle senses are merged in the mode of passion. The mind belongs to the mode of goodness, and therefore is called Devamaya, or godly. Perfect purification of the mind is made possible when one is fixed in the conviction of being the eternal servitor of the Lord. Therefore, simple attainment of goodness is also a material mode. One has to surpass this stage of material goodness and reach the point of purified goodness, or Vasudeva Sattva. This Vasudeva Sattva helps one to enter into the kingdom of God. We may also remember in this connection that the process of gradual emancipation by the devotees in the manner mentioned above, although authoritative, is not viable in the present age because of people's being primarily unaware of yoga practice. That is why we are less familiar with this particular description of the yoga practice. Similarly, also in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna mentions about the inner breath and the outer breath, and merging both and stopping breathing altogether. We are less, in Kali Yuga, we don't practice this. The so-called yoga practice by the professional protagonists may be physiologically beneficial, but such small success cannot help one in the attainment of spiritual emancipation as mentioned herein. 5,000 years ago, when the social status of human society was in perfect Vedic order, the yoga process mentioned herein was a common affair for everyone, because everyone, and especially the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, everyone was trained in the transcendental art under the care of the spiritual master, far away from home, in the status of brahmacharya. So this point is being made here, that one of the purposes and advantages of the tradition, this is making reference to the traditional system of education, Gurukula. Brahmacharya system means Gurukula, which was far away from home, because home means more opportunities for sense activities or sense gratification. So therefore, that system of providing education, something which is not followed in modern day society, as we know. We have what is called day school. Day school is, it means you spend a few hours at school, but most of the time you are at home. Most of the time in the modern system of education, one is not under the care and supervision of the teacher, isn't it? So this point is being made here. Especially the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, everyone, but especially these two categories, everyone was trained in the transcendental art under the care of the spiritual master, far away from home, in the status of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is, in the modern context, is totally unknown. The benefits of brahmacharya life, the whole Vedic culture can only be properly understood and executed if that primary basic element of brahmacharya life is in place. And brahmacharya, what is the main feature of brahmacharya life? Discipline, isn't it? Yeah. Brahmachari would receive training, and at some point he would become a disciple of the guru, of the spiritual master. That means he would be following disciplined life. Modern man, however, is incompetent to understand it perfectly. Yes. And, whoops, second portion here. The Lord Sri Chaitanya therefore made it easier for the prospective devotee of the present age in the following specific manner. Ultimately, there is no difference in the result. The first and foremost point is that one must understand the prime importance of Bhakti Yoga. Yes. The living being in different species of life are undergoing different terms of engagement according to their fruitive actions and reactions. But in the execution of different activities, one who secures some resources in Bhakti Yoga can understand the importance of service to the Lord through the causeless mercy of the Lord, as well as that of the spiritual master. A sincere soul is helped by the Lord through meeting a bona fide spiritual master, the representative of the Lord. By the instruction of such a spiritual master, one gets the seed of bhakti. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh, this is a long purport. No, I thought it was one page, but it's two big pages. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that the devotees sow the seed of bhakti in the heart and nurture it by the watering of hearing and chanting the holy name, fame, etc. of the Lord. The simple process of offenselessly chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord will gradually promote one very soon to the stage of emancipation. So, Prabhupada is, in the context of what he was explaining a few minutes ago, that this very involved, complicated yoga process that is being described here is not at all practical in Kali Yuga, and therefore Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the benefit of the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, has introduced the simple process which will bring one to the desired result. So Prabhupada will elaborate here a little bit. There are three stages of enchanting the holy name of the Lord. The first stage is the offensive chanting of the holy name. And the second is the reflective stage, sometimes referred to as the clearing stage. What are they also referred to as? The Namaparat, Namabhas, and Sudhanam. The first stage, offensive stage. The second stage, reflective stage. And the third stage is the offenseless or pure chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In the second stage only, the stage of reflection between the offensive and the offenseless stages, one automatically attains the stage of emancipation. So this is an important point, that if one is stuck in the first level, means if one continues to commit offenses while still chanting the holy name, the example is given, it's like trying to light a fire and at the same time pouring water on it. It won't go so well, right? So, of course, one is always recommended to continue chanting the holy name, but if one continues to commit offenses, the process will be very slow. Still, one gets benefit by chanting the holy name, but the process of attaining, this is what is mentioned here, attaining the stage of emancipation means coming to the point of self-realization will come by especially applying the second stage, which is referred to here, of course, as the reflective stage or clearing stage of chanting the holy name. And then in the offenseless stage, when one becomes actually purified, one actually enters into the kingdom of God, although physically he may apparently be within the material world. So that means that there are individuals who are still in the material world, but are also in the spiritual world simultaneously. It is possible to be physically still here in the material world, but consciously purified sufficiently in terms of consciousness to be living in the spiritual world. To attain the offenseless stage, one must be on guard in the following manner. Okay? So for those who are interested in attaining the offenseless stage, Prabhupada is giving us a whole, wow. It continues in the other page also. Okay, very long purport. Very interesting. When we speak of hearing and chanting, it means that not only should one chant and hear the holy names of the Lord as Rama, Krishna, or systematically the 16 names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But one should also read and hear the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. The primary practice of Bhakti Yoga will cause the seed already sown in the heart to sprout, and by a regular watering process, as mentioned above, by hearing, the Bhakti Yoga creeper will begin to grow. By systematic nurturing, the creeper will grow to such an extent that it will penetrate the coverings of the universe, as we have heard in the previous verses, reach the effulgent sky, the Brahmajyoti, and go further, and reach the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable spiritual planets called Vaikuntha Lokas. Above all of them is Krishna Loka, or Goloka Vrindavan, wherein the growing creeper enters and takes repose at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the original personality of Godhead. When one reaches the lotus feet of Lord Krishna at Goloka Vrindavan, the watering process of hearing and reading, as also chanting the holy name in the pure devotional stage, fructifies, and the fruits grown there in the form of love of Godhead are tangibly tasted by the devotee, even though he is here in the material world. The ripe fruits of love of God are relished only by the devotees constantly engaged in the watering process as described above. Cannot stop giving water. But the working devotee must always be mindful so that the creeper which has so grown will not be cut off. Therefore, he should be mindful of the following considerations. And Prabhupada gives 8 considerations, 8 points. 1, offense by one at the feet of a pure devotee may be likened to the mad elephant who devastates a very good garden if it enters. So offending pure devotees. 2, one must be careful to guard himself against such offenses at the feet of pure devotees, just as one protects a creeper by all around fencing. 3, it so happens that by the watering process some weeds are also grown, and unless such weeds are uprooted, the nurturing of the main creeper or the creeper of Bhakti Lata or Bhakti Yoga may be hampered. 4, actually these weeds are material enjoyment, merging of the self in the absolute without separate individuality, and many other desires in the field of religion, economic development, sense enjoyment, and emancipation. 5, there are many other weeds like disobedience to the tenets of the revealed scriptures, unnecessary engagements, killing animals, and hankering after material gain, prestige, and adoration. 6, if sufficient care is not taken, then the watering process may only help to breed the weeds, stunting the healthy growth of the main creeper and resulting in no fructification of the ultimate requirement, which is love of God. 7, the devotee must therefore be very careful to uproot the different weeds in the very beginning. Only then will the healthy growth of the main creeper not be stunted. And 8, and by so doing, the devotee is able to relish the fruit of love of God and thus live practically with Lord Krishna even in this life and be able to see the Lord in every step. And the concluding short paragraph, the highest perfection of life is to enjoy life constantly in the association of the Lord. Nowadays people, modern people, if you go to a store and buy something, when you leave they will say, enjoy. Everyone looking for enjoyment, enjoy. But unfortunately, they don't have the right understanding. But Prabhupada is concluding here, the highest perfection of life is to enjoy life, constantly in the association of the Lord, and one who can relish this does not aspire after any temporary enjoyment of the material world via other media, especially social media. Social media has captured the whole world into false enjoyment. Everyone's looking for enjoyment through the social media. It's the wrong media. Actual media is Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, devotional activities, association of devotees, general devotional service. Yes. So any questions, comments? We can close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.